Another person would think I'm Fang. So like, Ming Ming Fang. I said, "Are you Ming Fang?" Huh? If you said I was Ming Chi, okay, yes, I am Ming Chi. But you said Ming Fang. Why you call me Ming Fang? Do you want to see? I should be thirsty. Wow, huh? You serious? No, I'm Ming Chi. Difference. Oh, you must have waited a long time because you must have wanted me to be Ming Fang. But people do call me Ming Fang, but I'm known as Ming Chi. Or Chi. How can I? Chi Fang or Fang Chi. You know me? Oh, Ming Fang. Call me Emerald Ming. Literally. But let me explain something to you. Okay. Now, I was just speaking about my daughter. I was looking at her a certain type of way. Listen, my son called me and said he was arguing with his wife that she didn't do certain things for him. I said, oh, okay, probably, what happened. I was around my daughter. My daughter was supposed to be in my bedroom. My daughter's like 20 something in age. She was supposed to be in my bedroom. She wasn't in my bedroom. She was with this fucking asshole, and she wasn't supposed to be with an asshole. And then my wife called me and said, "Yo, why you think she with an asshole?" I said, "Because I was really by myself from Brooklyn till now, and I was jerking off for a long time. And me being the beginning of physics, she ended up with an asshole because the guy was an asshole, and I was literally jerking off from here to Brooklyn at a certain time. So literally jerking off me masturbation from here to Brooklyn at a certain time. So she ended up with an asshole. Her other sister wanted power so much that her other sister was putting butt plug jewels in her ass, trying to outvote the reasons of the person who should have magic at a time, so they wouldn't be able to do martial arts to fuck over my wife in a paradigm. Because my other daughter was wearing my wife like she was a dress, and it was fucking up the sequence of a time when her sequence of time was endless because I gave her the atmosphere, and I'm the real Rider, real Osiris, the real Ming Chi, known as Ming Feng. But the reason of one's point, how can I say this? Call, call, call me Feng Ling or Ling Ming or Ling Ming or call me Feng Ling Fang or Feng Ling, or Yiling or Li Ying or Ling, Ling Nai. I don't want to tell you too much of my names of what I'm really known by though. But so my wife says, "So what happened?" I said, "Well, my other daughter, she was doing forms of mythology, fucking up niggas' life in other ways, and then causes certain things." She said, and my wife said, "Why did that happen?" I said, "Probably because I used to use little pins at a time to pop the pimples on my face, or to little pop the little pimples that was on my leg, or try to pry something out, like you ever had a splinter on your finger and then you have to pry out the splinter using a pin or something. I said I did that, so I used to tell my kids, they were supposed to call me at a time to know what I was going on with me. This is why I'm supposed to be in the house with my daughters at times, because my sons need to know where not to go before something happens to them, because the ignorance a certain type of way. And also my wife, because my wife may think that she's living the hamburger life with her boyfriend that just wants to do Highlander to her, and then he already knows that I did something a certain type of way, because his little witch itch girlfriend that hated my wife, that wanted to live my wife life, that couldn't get my wife a count, did some magic. And then next thing you know, I did something, and then my wife not realizing, because she was other places at time when she was supposed to be watching me also, that my I ended up pricking my taking pins to pop my pimples, or squeezing my pimple if I had a pimple or certain little thing on my body. And then my wife would think she's living a luxurious life until pop goes the weasel and shit. Because if she was already being pricked by her dildo, if it was an element and she was an element empress doing martial arts, she would have been already pricked by her dildo that just had ruthless emotions, that was just gonna try to kill my children at a time, that was just trying to manipulate her comfort, where she was feeling erratic because she doesn't care about the reason she's handling herself a certain type of way. And my wife says, why is that happening? Because I'm already jerking off. I don't want to say nothing, but I'm already jerking off, so don't worry about it. But so, either way you want to look at it. But my wife says, so tell me what else is going on. I said, well, let me explain something to you. My daughter, you see, I was like calling for my family of China at a time, because I had to call them to ask them, where's my pussy? Because a person says, why? Because my wife keeps calling me, telling me to refine something, and I don't feel like going outside looking for it, because I'm older than everybody, but I'm supposed to be younger than everybody in the same time, but not younger, not because nobody's gonna recondition me, but I'm supposed to feel younger than everybody anyway. So when I mean younger, from like 18 and up, really 19 and up, 19 to 23. I don't really like going past 27 or 29 too much, but or 30, really, tell you the truth. Sometimes I'll do a 30, but I don't like marinated pussy, so, and I don't like other people leftovers. So I'll say 19 to 23, or 18 to 23. So my wife says, what happened? I said, well, I called my family of China to find out where my pussy is, because my son called me, said he was arguing with his wife. But I could have sworn I seen my daughter. I saved the Mega Man Galaxy. I also saved the Superman Galaxy before. So if a person's wondering about me, a person's wondering, like, what is this guy talking about? There's a lot of things going on with me. I just don't say nothing, because another person wouldn't really notice, because I humbled my reality. And I have Star Water Empresses. I'm also a Ming. I'm China himself. So I have a lot of titles, because I made a lot of astrological trees. So I have different wives. So, when you're looking at me, I wouldn't look a certain type of way to somebody until they really get to see me, and they be like, what the, wait a minute, this nigga is the whole, and then they find out I'm their real dad, and I'm the nigga certain chicks at certain height requirements supposed to be giving me pussy. Mandatory. But I'm gonna be real with you, right? So my wife says, so tell me, what happened? I said, well, let me explain something to you. I said, as I called my family from China to find out why I seen my daughter looking like she was getting digged down by some next nigga online and stuff, my son called me, told me he was arguing with his wife that she didn't do certain things. I said, I heard my daughter sound like she was with some next nigga in the next room with somebody else when she was supposed to be with me. So I told my son to be careful, because be careful of the emotions that's being implanted in your purity because it's not your purity and somebody's fucking you over on a level, even if you thought it was your purity, but it wouldn't be your purity because your purity wouldn't fuck itself. Now, let me just be real with you. Also, if it happens to be somebody from a different astrological tree, that means there's gonna be a point in time in the paradigm if my wife was using that as a habitation of circumference that your literal nature will be spoiled. You would lose a quality and value. You would you would be being led by the wrong emotions of individuals that is an outside party that will be leading you on to your destruction. You would be influenced by people that you shouldn't be influenced by a certain type of way in the outside of your atmosphere of your habitation because you're supposed to be around dealing with your own reasons of your social purity, or better known as segregation at the time for you could really refine yourself at a level because let me explain the physics to you. If my son is a short guy, he's supposed to have a girl that's taller than him because she would have to be like 5'12", 6'12" in height because he would have to see the whole situation a certain type of way while he's handling situations in his physical reality, even on this plane of sacredcy, handling the situation because it's more enormous than him. And if it was looking like a way in the physical reality to law enforcement, it would look like he's defending himself if he had to handle something that was already getting out of hand that was trying to be more than him. So he would be able to have to handle it, the physical reality of the intimacy, and on top of it, manhandling the situation if it tried to get out of hand at a point of the reason of him being the secondary point of acknowledgement when it comes to masculinity. So it would have to be a certain height requirement for him for his physics. So I was precise with everything I told you. I told my wife, I said, and if it was an outside party, you gotta be careful because you'll have people that have outside emotions that are probably most likely that be trying to misguide an individual a certain type of way that will cause a uncomfortability in the physical reality, and then next thing you know, it will cause the death or the detrimentalness, and it would be leading the habitation or the atmosphere astray because it's like if a nigga, say for instance, like something that happened to my daughter a long time ago. My daughter got with this guy, and the guy, when I first moved my family around certain people, my daughter was with this guy, and the guy, when my family, some of my sons was being gangsters because of things that they were doing in the social habitation for the reason of their dignity. And then, some of my other sons had careers, and then my daughters were being kind to individuals as my son, settled into their habitation around other social economics at the time for the acknowledgement. And then my daughters being lenient, you never know what they probably tried to do behind my back, knowing that some of my sons was being inconsiderate to their own habitation in the bar scenes, dealing with the destruction of their habitation, trying to conquer their physics when it came to their anatomy and matter and their cellular structure on a celestial earth. And then, some of my daughters may have been influenced by other men at a time that Bobby been waiting for a disagreement that they might have seen, like foresight at a time, and then waiting for another time to strike, or trying to be like, me being the man that coached Romeo. So Juliet would, for he could realize what the reason of his efficacy, of his equality, while Juliet should even consider him for economic equality in one social economics at a time, as being even a neighbor of gratitude, because one would have to pay tribute or homage to one's reason of one's social consideration of one's comfortability at a time. So I explained this to my son that, be careful of what my younger daughter's getting into, because you never know how my older daughter's feeling about relationships and how she wanted to control things, and then her considering the finances of the family and trying to manipulate the physical reality of the physics of the younger generation because of the consideration that she has because of what she might cause an embarrassment or uncomfortability at a point, and try to balance it out with the quality of my wife's acknowledgement when it came to solitude, because a person would want to be a consultant at a time. So be very careful. I had to explain this to my son and stuff. And then I told my son, I said, yo, listen, be careful of another man trying to recondition the habitation of one's physics by sending impurity gunshots at you, by knowing certain things when it comes to one's physics and habitation, and then trying to manipulate your physical reality, causing your uncomfortability and getting chased and being led astray by people that you think is of your comfort. Is like filtering the mythological realm, and then you think people of your comfort is a certain type of way, and then it happens to be somebody that's trying to manipulate the cellular structure of your purity, that is causing diseases or manipulation, and then causes their downfall in the physics because them wanting a point of acknowledgement to know the reason of your sacredcy of your quality of your habitation. So be very careful at a time, because physics is very serious when it comes to one's condition and comfort of the physical reality. So then I told my son, I said, yo, be careful, because I can't, I love myself so much. I gotta consider my wife manifesting at a time and not going to jail, because if a man makes it, because my son being the masculinity of a level of physics, if he tried to get ahead of himself and tried to do a form of magic that was hiding him in physics and reality, if I get locked up, he would be going to jail anyway, but it'll be happening at a faster time point for his acknowledgement than regular if something happens to me, if he tried to fulfill the habitation equality of my wife at a level through the paradigm, also in the paradigm, and then wasn't on the real level a certain type of way, but just because he might have did some mythological magic or something of a high equality a certain type of way, that it would lead his physics to being locked up before time, and you don't want to cause confusion when it comes to the order of one's astrological, one's habitation of the reason of one's dignity at a point of time, even of the physical reality. So you got to be very careful of things that happen a certain type of way, because if I go to jail, you would be getting locked up instantly, because I'm the head of all beyond highest quantum mega super astrological celestial and celestial inner points of enlightenment, star clusters, astrology, constellations, sacred zodiacs, solar systems, galaxies, universe, planets, moons, sun, stars, and Earths, because they're out of regard, and then also atmospheres of sky, lightning, electricity, thunder, of the inner sacredcy. So, and even of the elements, jewels, your jewels and stones. So I'm just gonna be real with you. Be very careful of things of your habitation when it comes to me, because you can end up in jail instantly a certain type of way. And I love myself so much and love my family. That's why I made my family. I don't want to risk them being a hostage by other people's equality at a time, because some might have more to lose. And even if somebody ever tried to manipulate to get me locked up, the same goes for them, because they will have to come to a sit down and realize that they can't have me in jail, because they can't be in jail a certain type of way, because it might risk the reason of one's dignity when one's weighing out the reasons of one's socialism at the time. So, one has to be very careful. So, I explained this to my son. And I told him, I said, hey, man, listen to this. Be careful of my wife playing with dildos because it's already a gunshot and she's killing her sacredcy, not realizing how she's deteriorating herself with something that wants to kill her naturally, that's going to want to penetrate her until she gives out and passes out because she loses the quality of the reason of her self-control when it comes to her consciousness. So physics is very real when it comes to habitation and one's sacredcy. So I explained this to my son, and I said, and if you're my daughter, my wife likes dolls. She likes making things certain ways because if she comes home, she doesn't want to hear nothing. So you might have a feminine being that's supposed to be of refinement that might have a time of consciousness for herself, and all she wants to do is have the control and acknowledgement because she just wants to be comfortable and safe. Now, if she ends up doing things selling out the family, her comfortability will turn into being a slave. And then she won't be comfortable ever again in her life because her quality would be being diminished by individuals that would just be trying to figure out the ways to keep her habitation of her structure of her matter alive for physical enjoyment it, until it's worn out, and how would they be able to rejuvenate it for their own endeavors at the time. So be very careful of things that happens in the physics, and especially when it comes to quality, because if you fuck over your family, it's fucking over your own consciousness and the protection of your own habitation, and then you might be considered the outbreak or the excuse for somebody's slothful slackfulness at a time. How can I say not slackfulness? Slothfulness at a time that may cause inconsider devastation of one's equality, of higher acknowledgement or intellect or regard. So be very careful. So I explained this to my son and I said, yo, listen, man, be very careful of your homeboys that want to be comfortable with your sister at a time. Because another person, you know, trying to view or trying to handle the reason of your equality at a time may cause discomfort to your sacredcy. It might throw your attention span off if it's not your purity. So my daughter's, my wife, China, but my daughter, her pussy should have been here with me. Her literal, my pussy should have been here. It shouldn't have been with other men. Especially it's from 4 feet to 5'9" or to 5'5" in height. But we're not gonna get into that. But listen to what I'm telling you, right? So I explained this to my son, and I also told my son, be very careful because another person, you might have people of a social setting that might be of higher quality, that's comfortable with a certain type of next quality of physics, and then trying to manipulate another person's point of reality because the way they want to trample over individuals, and then causing discomfort in reality because the way they might already disrespected their dignity, and it didn't lead up to them doing it because they were manipulating the physics and so comfortable in the wrong intentions of one's receptiveness of one's direction, going into the wrong type of habitations of comfort. So be very careful of what people do when it comes to their sacredness and when it comes to their quality. And it's just like if my son's dick was a jewel, don't let it be covered by the wrong circumference in the paradigm, because the jewel would be see-through. So the paradigm would be endless to the discomfort and to the consideration one would have to have when it comes to equality, that will cause a natural irritation of one's point of receptiveness when one wants to just be sacred with their self, and it causes disillusion of reality if somebody wanted to know about your sacredcy when it comes to your habitation, and you don't want to be spilling out something sacred a certain type of way and wasting the quality of sacredcy because the wrong people try to steal times of habitation of sacredcy away from you. So be careful of people who try to manipulate you just to fuck up your quality, or just wanting the reasons of your secret of your intellect or habitation because of them wanting to be considered of high deviance of one's physical reality of socialism. So be very careful. So I had to explain this to my son so he could realize how serious situations is when it comes to natural equality in physics, when it comes to one's natural education of one's sacredcy and comfort and dignity. So and my wife said, so what about your situation? Well, I said, me jerking off for like a couple of years now, it may have caused my daughter to be being considered and being led astray by individuals that don't really care about the habitation of the family because they might just want to be assholes, or individuals that doesn't that doesn't that just wants to lollygag and not give a fuck of individual sacredcy at a certain point because of the type of lifestyle that they're living, or their quality of their education, or their attraction of one's self enjoyment. Me being using my hand or using a form of comforter. It might cause the wrong type of intellect or guidance of one's sacredcy because the receptiveness of my intellect at a time of natural comfort. You don't want people wanting to intrude and cause the wrong type of emotions, bargaining for one's social equality of sacredcy that turns into torment, or turns into a a burnout of residual for no reason. Just because one is being manipulated or deteriorated and then using supplements of causing discomfort at the time. And it would show everything I'm saying on a natural level of physics of equality, even when it comes to the physical habitation, even when it comes to even your digital system of your personal sacredcy or your social economics. So be very careful. You don't want to cause your intellect ahead of time, causing the wrong thing in one's habitation of one's social being, or social economics. So my son calls me one day. He says, "Yo, man, your dad, I'm going through a lot of situations." So I said, "Yeah, your sister, I could have sworn I was hearing her and I was seeing something on the internet, like somebody was pumping the wrong emotions into her, spoiling the reason of one's dignity and habitation, and demoralizing one's economical quality, even in physics. And on a level of physics, using a form of Kama Sutra, and then causing the demoralization of one's equality when it comes to finances, and also of one's consideration of one's legacy at the time. So be very careful." And then I told him, I said, "Yo, man, my your sister always like she was in some next guy's room, And then I seen something on the internet of with her, and I knew she was supposed to be here, and she looked like she was being trampled by somebody that was already fucking over their own conscience. Because I had to explain to my son, I'm the head of your being of beyond highest, but to your space of your obligation, then I'm obligated to tell you this for your reason of your or orientation of your celestial or astrological orbit of one's physics, of one's militance, you know, of one's outer regard of view. I seen it. You don't want to cause somebody fucking over your own emotions at a point, because my wife ain't gonna tell you the reasons of her intricacy of the reasons of her rulership and why nobody will be able to ever take that from her. And then on top of it, you don't want to fuck over your conscience of the reason of your conditioning of the physical who you are, and then wondering why you did it to yourself enormously and fucked yourself over and thought you were making love, but really fucked yourself over when it came to your consciousness, because breaking the soulmate condition of your harmonical frequency, when it's your mother is really my soulmate, and my daughter that fits her level of physics to her qualities really also my soulmate. And if you fucked yourself over and then your mother happens to use that habitation at a time because you've been trying to manipulate to get to your mother's point of acknowledgement of sacredcy or magic or social equality or finances or a mythological metaphysics of the higher intellect of one's acknowledgement of oneself, of one's habitation. You don't want to fuck over your point of your consciousness and offend yourself of me making you ahead of time and your mother by manipulating your mother, causing her demoralization, and then also wondering why things are happening to you that's enormous, a certain type of way in the physical reality, and you can't be intricate and handle all the intricacies of the physical reality because it causes confusion in your reality, because it's more than what you could have ever handled, and you would have never knew a person could cause so much pain and hurt to you that you thought when you were loving yourself. So you should already know, if you were handling something, it would have to be at a certain level of physics. So you would be able to really see what it is about a certain type of way and would be able to conquer it. Because once you start going to the intricate points, that is already a reflection of the resemblance of the reason of your existence of habitation of one's social being, you might cause your detrimental death or confuse the reality, and then end up in a more fucked up reality that you could ever bear, because you have to be fighting against yourself, and then you don't want to depress yourself because of your own stupidity. So be very careful of the things that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So I had to explain all this to my son. So and I'm speaking to my children out there. So, after explaining this to my child and stuff, I used to tell him, like, yo, man, I heard your sister speaking in another guy's room, and I was already having situations with my house and my land a certain type of way. So I went to the outer part of my habitation of comfort to even though I own a continent, but the individuals that was already still trying to cause the uncomfortability in my reality. Because my son was wondering, like, because he thought he was like, yo, you're losing the house. He was like, I'm losing a fucking planet. And the nigga couldn't even say. He was like, yo, listen, this is not a house or a state you have. He said, yo, this is more than a state. That you losing a fucking planet on the other side. What the fuck am I gonna do? And I'm like, yo, homie, your homeboys that you were flying around with or hanging out with that you thought you had money with were studying you like a boxing match. And they came and tried to cause uncomfortability in my social economics. And the next thing you know, now you're losing a planet that might end up being trampled in all levels of physics. So be careful to what gangster situations you're causing. And he said, yo, Dad, but why is all that? I said, because when I went to go visit your planet, it smelled like maxi pads. I'm the only one that really wanted a son because I know the reason of my reach. You think about your brothers, and then you want your brother. The reason why I acknowledge what you wanted to do with your brother because you wanted him to learn the reason of orientation and order, but you wanted them to know the reason of the habitation, so the reason of their comfort of their visit. But now, if you trying to fuck over everything for yourself, if you end up dead and buried because a bunch of chicks just wanted to bury you in some pussy like they would the earth and then put you underground, who the fuck is gonna help you at the end of the day? My wife, if my wife gets into an argument, I don't want her to say and cause and come up with an excuse and say that she was on menopause or a period. And then she was being thrown off by other bitches in a cycle that wasn't of a social equality. So be very careful of the excuses that you use and the things that you do to yourself also, like your sister, because if your sister fucked the family, you don't want she'll end up a slave hooker bitch. You fuck the family over and you fuck your sister if she's 4 feet. Like, as a matter of fact, from 3 feet all the way up to 5'5", you fuck your sister or have sex with your sister or even try to make love to your sister, the whole family will be looking for you at a time, already wanting to take away what you have because the greed of, even if your point of reality, if you were the last one that knew certain things a certain way, and then also they'll be wanting to murder and kill you, and you'll find out the reason of bearing a cross like Christ and wondering why the family don't give a fuck because of the habitation. And then when they do find out about the habitation, you'll be finished because by the time they realize they're reconditioned and then they realize I'm their real parent, you'll be really fucked and screwed. And then you'll really understand what the walk about Christ was about. Because he did it as a form of a gangster trying to do something else at the time also. Your ass will be the real stupidity. The shit that nobody will see and realize what the fuck going on. Hopefully I'll be able to reflect at another point to remind you. Because I was on the cross right next to him, and he said, yo, man, this is some real gangster shit going down. Yo, Dad, I'm sorry you got caught up, but you don't need to see all this shit. And I was like, wow. And then in the paradigm, I watched another porno of his own brother fucking over his habitation, choking out his life at a point of receptiveness that was critical, but he just didn't realize it yet. Oh, I'm telling him now if he ever hears this, but wait till he finds it and sees for himself. you know, I think he'll. You remember, I'm healing. I'm in recovery. I came back in time. I already set the future. So if you fuck up your economical quality going to the future and try to make it seem like I didn't do nothing, then you fucked yourself because there's nothing new under the sun. So I already set the future and I came back in time. So people are checking certain things and it's looking like they're older a certain type of way and they're younger and I'm their real parent. And then on top of it, they're trying to manipulate people because all the manhandling of barbaric galactical war that we already went through for the War of the Fist, the War of the North, when I built the whole Northwest, West, North and East, Southeast, and South Coast back to reality when it was only the Southwest left. So be very careful. I did a lot. And if I did it on a level of physics, that means I must have did it on a level of enormous reality, even in planets in space. Think about what I'm saying. Be careful of what you touch that don't belong to you also. Learn the reason of individuals telling you honor the reason of your dignity and habitation. Don't fuck with another person's equality. Be careful. Because I ain't gonna tell you the reason of consecration in too many ways. My wife is already scared to be on the highest quantum mega super, and she knows I ain't even gonna say nothing. I'm just gonna be like, word? And I just won't even say nothing. And that's the scary thing because she knows I don't speak too much. Because I'm Moses, I don't really like speaking. It's not that the fact that I couldn't speak. I didn't like speaking because at the times when I was with Aaron, Aaron wanted me to speak to explain why I was killing everybody. And I was looking at the nigga, huh? You're gonna realize I'm your dad. Matter of fact, all you're gonna realize, and I'm not even gonna have to say anything too much. I'm just gonna bust your ass. Because the niggas had to see it for themselves. But, that time passed already. I already conquered that reality. I'm the reason why you could even wake up and have remembrance of your old life after being reconditioned in cycles. And this is why I told my children in China, be careful of having more than one child. You don't want somebody just wanting to bargain for your quality of your privacy of the high society, just because they're targeting your finances of your quality because they know they were at a low point. So if they want to be reconditioned, if your dick was a jewel, you don't want them positioning themselves to fucking up your secrecy and the reason of you even being a high intellect of reality. So be very careful to the people that just want to look or run through you. I came back in time. Think about that physics. So, I had to explain this to my son. So he was like, "Oh my God, you going through things in your house?" I said, "Oh yeah." So, what, you lost a planet? Oh. I'm actually giving Superman and them planets back one by one, a little bit by a little bit when I feel like it. They kind of got psychotic with their crystals, so they're gonna have to wait a little bit. Step one. No, wait. Stop. I'll think about it. We don't want to go too far with barbaric. I am the how can I say this? I am, how can I say it? I himself, a person would say, they be like, yo, listen, this L right here, this one right here, they be like, yo, listen, man, this is. This is Casanova. Because I am the Dalai Lama, the original Lama. So be very careful with me. So, oh, well, man. And I'm also the Force Star Magi of the Value Ninja Galaxy. Not in the Ninja Galaxy. The Value Ninja Galaxy. On all levels of physics. Of all space. Anyway, we're not going to get into that. You shouldn't even worry about that. Once you start going there, you might as well call it quits. That was it. No. So you said, pack it up. That's it. Pack it up. Pack it in. Let us begin. Everything we did was a motherfucking sin. I hope you don't rock it. I hope you're not one of the people that say stop it. Because when this nigga find out, he's even worse than Juice and that Tupac shit. For real. But a little time passed. I might be a little more of an adult about my situation if I'm speaking about it now. So, it's okay. You don't gotta be too nervous. But yeah, I'm actually hungry right now. I'm gonna go fix me up some food and stuff. So I really didn't like that, which I did with my tongue with the food I left in my room. I really didn't like that. But it's alright though. I guess your whore with her pierced tongue and her hot sauce. Just wanting the excuse, huh? That's what you've been waiting to show me. Well, I guess if you're an element bitch, a lame ass bitch, I guess you're just like a nail in the wall, huh, bitch? So we're not gonna get into it. Securing your own emergency dildo. Good for you, you dumb, oh man, squally, squally. Wow, man. But we're not gonna get into that, man. We're not. I don't know nothing about stuff like that. Don't worry about it. I don't think about things like that. You know, if you're a dumb whore, I don't know. That's what you want to hear already ahead of time. You think about it one day if you're ever smart. Oh shit. That's fucked up, bitch. Too bad for you. And I'm the real situation.
When they get the money time, I definitely.
All right. Ooh, ooh. Oh.
Bond that the two have with Russ in his feelings. That can be reunited as teammates in Charlotte at the All-Star game. Guys, thank you so much. We appreciate you getting all this together too. The NBA again, the Players Association.
Thank you. You did a great job. Head on out. Have a good evening.
Squally. Squally.
One of the problems in life is that when you're a kid, you have a certain way of working out disagreements. And those laws do not work in the adult world. One of the main ways that kids resolve any dispute is by calling it. One of them say, I got the front seat. I wanted the front seat. I called it.
Oh, this is a state adventures right here. Hold on. Oh man, never gonna get out the house, right? Look at that. Look at that. Cool and everything, right? Word, right? We're gonna start with the windows. We're gonna start with that. We gotta start. Oh man. Oh man. They were deep in the pockets. You seen that? You seen where I went to, right? They were already deep in. Oh my god. Anyway, man. Good for you, man. Good for you, man. Kronos and them is just scared and shit, probably running around and shit. Want to run around and nigga like, yo, nigga, nigga gonna try to shrink to micro size and shit, and then you're gonna have real situations on your hands, man. Because even if they're micro size, I don't give a fuck if they were L's, nigga. The L's gotta deal with chicks that's like around like six. They situations gotta be 6'4". You can't. No, the L's I'll say like 6'8", 6'8". Certain of them 6'8". If they think a little too militant, then they 6'12" in it. Then they 6'12". So yo bitch. What? Oh wait, what? Looking at police and them. What? Oh, ooh, look what I got, nigga. Wow, nigga. What? Oh man. Yo, you ain't never seen. Oh man, you gotta see the Elf Titans. Oh my god, this shit you be looking at what? They had to already be micro size and shit. The elves titans, I said. Then you got the elf titan. Then they be like, yo, what the fuck you going looking at, bitch? You sure? You sure you ain't already thinking about the world, bitch? You sure? You sure you hanging out with them four niggas? What's them niggas' names again, bitch? You know them niggas' names? Them niggas be asking you. You remember them niggas' names? As soon as they saw, this, wait. Wow! Yo, I just got a headache thinking about that shit. Oh man, shit, I'm out.